A topic of conversation we couldn't speak about when I was growing up and in elementary school has become something that in the last few years is openly discussed in public forums, in school, in the workplace, professionally and personally. Palestine has become a forefront of the conversation. That being said, I'd like to introduce today's session, which is Palestine in the US. What's with the new dynamics? How come this conversation and this topic that was once so ostracized and politicized is now very openly spoken about? So I'll introduce all of our speakers at once, and then before they come up, I'll give them their full bio. But we have with us Ahmed Abuznaid, Linda Samsour, Dr. Ahmed Abuznaid, and Ms. Anuradha Patel. First up, I'd like to introduce Ahmed Abuznaid, who is the Executive Director of the U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights. He went to law school and is now the co-founder of the Florida-based Dream Defenders in response to the killing of Trayvon Martin. He also champions racial justice issues around the United States and has served on multiple organizations for the Movement for Black Lives and other social justice issues to fight for rights in Palestine. Please honor Ahmed Abuznaid and let us join him.
All right, thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So I was really excited for this conversation, not just because of the subject matter and how it should inspire us to be hopeful and to keep pushing, but also because of the wonderful people. And I'm sorry my back is turned to you. It's super awkward, having such wonderful people behind you as you speak, but we'll do our best with it. So I'll list some of the things I think have changed. But first and foremost, we have to talk about what has not changed. And that is the sumud and steadfastness of the Palestinian people. MashaAllah, 70 plus years. They said the old would die and the young would forget. And that quote is as silly as Zionism itself. So we're a product of generations of passing down both the pain but also the passion of our homeland. Our parents instilled this in us the way they instilled adab and our deen. Back home in Palestine, but also generations here in the US have contributed to this evolution. And I wanted to highlight a couple of Palestinians that are going to make this case. In the last session, I mentioned a brother named Bassem Masri, Allah yarhamu, a dear brother to many of us in the movement, who gave his life to the movement in Ferguson, and we miss him dearly. But Linda and I had a chance to travel to Ferguson during the uprising and build with Bassem and his family. And I want to talk about the moment that we actually, speaking of what our parents instilled in us, we met with Zuhdi Masri, which is Bassem Masri's father. Zuhdi Masri is a store owner in northern St. Louis, in the hood. And one of the most amazing things, Palestinians can really do anything. This brother, who had left occupation and apartheid and colonization, ended up in northern St. Louis, opening up a business, helped to shepherd peace between two rival gangs in St. Louis, right? So we're actually making peace between gangs in St. Louis. That was Zuhdi Masri. And while we were sitting there talking to Zuhdi, my mind was blown. Customer after customer walking in and saying, hey uncle, hey dad. These were members of the community in St. Louis. And they referred to him as such because of how he treated them, because of the environment his store created, because of the familiar approach that he and his family had. And of course, Bassem took that to the next level, being on the front lines in Ferguson, day after day, night after night, and we want to keep his memory uplifted. I'm also going to mention my dear sister Linda Samsour here, without stealing much of her thunder. She led one of the largest protests in the history of the United States of America, the Women's March. Give it up, please. I'm sure the Zionist organizations and institutions would have loved to see such a formation without the existence of a Palestinian woman, without the core team being represented so strongly by a fierce Palestinian sister, but this is who we are. And they messed with the wrong people. And so whether in Palestine, in 48, in the occupied territories, in the refugee camps, or here in the US, we know we will continue to resist. We know we will continue to organize until one day we all go home. You all heard earlier from Huwaida Araf, who's hopefully going to be going to Congress and representing our dreams and visions in the halls of Congress. Huwaida in the ISM is something we should all be proud of. When the Gaza flotilla was breaking through international waters into Gaza, we felt an immense moment of pride, and that was Huwaida and her co-founders, Huwaida and her co-organizers. You know, over this last year, we all became enamored and in love and in direct relationship with Muhammad and Muna al-Kurd. And I saw that Muna had a chance to speak to you all earlier. How about that couple? How about that brother and sister? Palestinians, no matter where we go, where we end up, we're going to rise up. And I'm incredibly proud to be a part of this legacy of peoples. But it's not just the individuals, it's institutions like AMP. So shout out to AMP, give yourselves a round of applause. Every single one of you today has been giving your heart and soul, your time, your efforts, your donations to this collective vision of liberation. And so it's not just the individuals, it's our institutions, it's our organizations, it's our communities bringing us together. So USPCN, USCPR, Adala Justice Project, so on and so forth. We uplift you, we appreciate you. Fragmented and fractured, but never leaving our homeland behind. The young will never forget because their dream is Palestine. Another huge difference and distinction over the last few years has been social media. We used to dream of the day that CNN would highlight the atrocities that our people undergo every day. But these days we no longer need CNN. Mark Lamont Hill was fired by CNN and he started up the BNC, the Black News Channel. We don't need these mainstream media outlets anymore. Pictures and videos now reaching hundreds of millions of people when we used to hope they would reach thousands. This has allowed for solidarity to blow through borders, boundaries, languages, and religions, through races, through ethnicities, all understanding how deeply important Palestinian liberation is to their own liberation. But my people seeing the truth and even acknowledging the truth is not enough. Recently, we saw an example of Ahmed Arbery. We all witnessed that video months ago. We saw as clear as day that was murder. And yet many of us were unsure, would the courts see what we saw? Would the courts be able to act upon what we saw? And so here, when we think about members of Congress, they know the truth. They know what's happening to our people. It's not enough to show them the videos and the pictures. We have to push them. We have to push them until they can't do anything other than stand up for the Palestinian cause. My time is running short, and I want to hear from these amazing people, and hopefully we can get into a conversation. But dear family members, we have to be relentless in our pursuit of justice. We must leave no stone unturned. Advocacy, lobbying, education, arts, culture, organizing, and love. We must utilize every tool in our tool set to get to liberation, and one day we will. Thank you for being here today. We'll see each other in a free Jerusalem, inshallah.